Welcome to this episode of the Million Dollar Mastermind. I'm Larry Weidel, and let's get started. I am with Adam Weidel, and we're going to talk about motivation, what motivation gives for you, basically the magic of motivation. So, welcome, Adam.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. And when you look at motivation, motivation is like this magic substance that gives you things you couldn't get any other way. And motivation is the quality that multiplies the work you do and the results you get. Adam, you know, I did years of decades of meetings, 2 and 3 day meetings where people came from all over the country. And invariably, there's somebody walking the hallways who is there for the first time. They didn't want to come, and they're sitting around wasting time, waiting for the meeting to get over. And they're saying, you talk to them and say, "What's going on? You came all the way. Why are you out here in the hall?" And they said, now, of course, when this happened, I wasn't out in the hall smoking cigarettes or wasting time at flipping quarters. I have to run to the room to get some notes or something like that. And you see these people. And one time, this one particular kid was on the elevator, and he was going to explain to me why he felt guilty that he wasn't in the meeting. And so he volunteered because he knew he was in there enough to know that I was one of the speakers organizers. And so he felt guilty he wasn't in there. So he said, as way of excuse, this is, I've heard this stuff before. It's mainly just another motivation meeting. And, I'm super motivated anyway. And so I don't really need motivation. So I don't really need to be in there. I'm thinking to myself, if there's anybody who doesn't have motivation, it's you. And so I just kind of nodded my head. It's a waste of time to talk to people like that. But the thing is, people tend to dismiss training, awards, recognition, halftime speeches by coaches, inspirational stories and things like that as, it's just motivation. Yeah, it's just motivation. Without it, you're dead. And so with one thing, Adam, without motivation, talent is useless. And you've seen in a lot of arenas, you're probably more as much as anything, the bodybuilding arena, where you could have the genetics, but if you don't go to the gym and put in the hours and the work in an organized way, that those genetics, that talent, it's essentially useless.
Yeah, absolutely. That's only going to take you so far. It's not going to take you to the elite levels. It'll take you around the smaller levels, the smaller local levels of competition and things like that. Similar with the strongman type competitions, guy that's naturally strong on a local, very local level, something like that. You might be able to go in there and win everything, but to compete on the national and world levels, you not only got to have the genetics and the talent, but you got to have the proper coaching. You got to have the proper techniques. You got to have the discipline in because, that's not going to take you to the elite levels, just having the natural talent.
Yeah, motivation, that drive is what causes you to make the effort to find those coaches, to get the nutrition right, to make sure you're putting in the right kind of work in whatever field you're working in. And when the motivation is weak, you're not going to have the follow through. And as a result, there's no question, you're going to waste your time and your talent. And unfortunately, life is too short. You don't get those wasted days back. And you can be incredibly talented, have the best contacts, have a ton of experience even. You could have some achievements. But these things are not going to do you any good if you're not using them. And there's some people, Adam, that are talented enough where they get interested in something and right away they have easy success. And then they think the rest of it's going to be easy. But if they're not really driven, when it starts to get tougher for them, year 2, year 3, year 4, you're not going to keep going because your motivation is just not that strong. And you can get the recipe, but unless you put those things together, unless you want the result, those things are going to be useless. And so when your life is out of focus and your motivation is your internal engine, and there's no way to go through life and achieve great things with just doing what people tell you to do. The people who achieve greatness are doing the extra thing. If you're going through life, you're just kind of living up to other people's expectations, doing things because you think that's what you're supposed to do, and you really don't have any desire for it, you're not really living your life, you're wasting your life. But as soon as you get and I think we've all seen this, as soon as you get an idea in your head, something now, you see somebody doing something, or you see something that all of a sudden you get lit up. I mean, they've got a car, they've got a house, they've got, sometimes, you never thought about having a family, then you see this family, like Bill Whittle. We've talked about this many times. Bill Whittle was never going to have kids. He was this all-American guy, perfect life, perfect wife, this, that, and the other. He was never going to have kids. And then we brought him in as a speaker at one of our schools in North Carolina, and he came to the house, and you and Brian were like 8 and 10 years old, and you were like all over him. He's 6'6" or taller, and ex-basketball player, and he had so much, you guys were grabbing him by the legs, you were tackling him, trying to throw him down. He had so much fun playing with you. He went back, told his wife, we're going to have kids. And within a year and a half, all of a sudden, his son showed up, and he's had more fun with him, and he went on to have a daughter, and now they've got grandkids. But, he saw something with you and Brian. He said, man, I want to have kids now. And it totally changed his life. And so until you get in a situation where you see something that inspires you and turns you on, it's never going to happen to you. See, motivation, once you get it, it improves performance in all areas. And we see it in sports all the time. The season starts, the team starts winning. They like the feeling. They believe in each other. They realize, hey, we could actually win this thing. We actually could go undefeated. And they start putting more energy into it. They take their jobs, their preparation, their practices much more seriously. And their intensity and effort increase. And of course, their satisfaction does too. That's where motivation, inspiration, having a goal you're excited about shows up. It shows up with the intensity that you go after it with, how much not just did you do what's required, but how much intensity did you do those extra reps? Did your attention to detail? Your intensity and effort and attention to detail goes up when you're really motivated. So as a result, that's how people wind up on top. And so the second thing, we talked about 3 things you get from motivation. You get maximum use of your talent, your performance improves in all areas. The motivation multiplies your activity and the results of your activity. The action is kind of like a cycle. The motivation driving you into action, you start getting results, and that increases your motivation because you start accomplishing more. And you get more and more convinced this thing is a real possibility. So it creates a cycle that, I've always said, Adam, I could always tell who was working when I went into an office because of their excitement level. The people who had been working, who had the biggest activity and the biggest numbers, they were always more fun to talk to. They talked a little faster, a little louder. They had more content. You know, it was like boom, 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 boom. But they had lots of things they wanted to talk about. Where the other people were just kind of there. That's a great thing. And like we talk about, activity creates excitement. And so what kind of thing can you say? Those are three things you get from motivation. And how would you wrap this up for people? What's your parting shot on letting people know what you get from being highly motivated?
Well, I think, first of all, you've got to have a goal for yourself that you want to accomplish. And that has got to be the number one focus, and it's got to be for you. And if it's for you, for your kids, if it's for you, for your business, but it's got to be for you alone, because there's always going to be things, there's always going to be days where you don't feel 100%. There's always going to be things that knock you off course. But because you hear people, how do you stay motivated about that? How do you stay motivated about that? Well, the bottom line is you've got to pick something specific that you want to get done and put it before everything else and not let yourself get off track. Every day you need to take some small step, a certain portion of the day, to focus on whatever that goal is. Because if you're not doing it for yourself, if you're doing it for somebody else, it's never going to be as important as it would be if it's something you want to accomplish for yourself. Now, it can be something for your family that you want to get done. It can be something for your business that you want to get done, but you're never going to be motivated. And this is probably obvious, but you're never going to be as motivated to get something done that somebody else wants you to get done as you will be if it's something you want to get done for yourself. You know, there's a lot of people, like you're talking about earlier, that have a natural talent, and there's people around them that see and just amazed at how much natural talent this person has to be able to do this, or this person has to be able to do this. And they want so badly for that person to succeed at the highest level because they can see all the natural talent they have. But if that person with the talent is not motivated to get to that goal, whatever it is, then it doesn't matter how many people are pushing them to get there. It's never going to be that important to them if it's not something they want to get done for themselves. Because at the end of the day, if you're not doing it for yourself and holding yourself accountable, there's too many things that are going to get you off track and too many excuses that can be made. And it's just not something that's ever going to be. It's got to be something important to you to the core above everything else that you want to get done.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Adam. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed spending some time thinking about how to maximize your motivation, because what this does is allow you to get the maximum out of your life. So thank you, Adam.
All right. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to this episode of $1 Million Mastermind with me, Larry Weidel. If I've helped you in any way, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. For more information like this, listen to our other $1 Million Mastermind episodes and check out my Weidel Academy YouTube channel and visit us on WeidelOnWinning.com. I'm the $1 Million Mastermind, and until next time, go, go, go.